Hi, welcome to the third video in our PowerShell course. And in this video, we're going to have a look at functions. And at the end of this video, we're going to take a look at a script that I wrote. The script is not going to have any parameters, but we're going to take a look at that live here today. So in the last video, if you haven't seen it, we went over variables. So if you are new to PowerShell and haven't seen that, please go and take a look at that and then come watch this video. So what we're gonna do first here, we're gonna create. I haven't written anything here, so this is gonna be on the fly. So function, the center, we get a default function, right? And we have something called function advanced. So this is a more advanced function. These are the two types of functions, or maybe the only type of functions you really need. All the other functions aren't really important. It's just the same, but in like different. You can say options in here. You can do that here as well. I usually leave that in my script in case. And we have, you have the parameter with value from pipeline and so on. There's a lot of things inside a function, but we don't have time to look at all of them. We're just gonna look at a function. We're gonna create one and see how the function works. So we're gonna go over to basic functions. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna say function, which is the first thing you need, and then a function name. So let's say demo1 parameter, and here is a huge lot of ways to do this. You can say parameter like this. What is it complaining about now? Function number1. Yeah, because there isn't any the parameter isn't valid. So you can do this. You can do what I like to do. I like to do this. There's so many ways you can set it up, but we're gonna set it up like this. And say first thing you want to do is maybe I'm gonna say parameter, and yeah, okay. Okay, so it did a little something. We don't need all of this. We don't need that. We don't need this. We can set a description if you want to, but it's not important. So attribute values, there is plenty. You can say what we're gonna set here is something that is called mandatory. And we're gonna say equals. You have to put equals true or false. And we're gonna say it says true. Just type through laziness here, but parameter name. Okay, so what do you want to achieve with this? We could say let's just say first name, and parameter type. It's an integer or a string or a switch, or I think those are the ones. We're gonna take a look at all of them. I'm gonna say string for this one, and first name. We're gonna comma separate, and we're gonna do it all over again. We're gonna say parameter brackets. We're gonna say mandatory, and we're gonna say that's also true. Next is type of parameter is it? It's a string, and what is the parameter? It's last name. There you go. We can do it more advanced. We can say valid from pipeline with objects and so on. I'm not going to go into that here. I'm just create simple functions in this video. If you want to learn more about advanced type of function or the functionality to each parameter, just go ahead and search that up. You will find a lot of different examples. The goal of this video is just to get familiar with functions and how you can use them. Again, you can have them stuck together like this. It doesn't matter. I find it a lot easier to do it like that. And you always have to have comma when you do this. You don't need this, to be honest, if you want to have it like, if you want to have it mandatory to assign or whatnot. You can assign a lot of things here. Then you have to have the parameter value here. You can see it throws like it doesn't like this. That's because you have to comma separate every variable. This one is we don't need mandatory at all. So we can either set it to false, or we can remove it altogether and just have the parentheses. Doesn't really matter. We can just do this. We can actually, I believe, we can do this. Switch, and we can say search. We're gonna do something fun here. Do a little bit. I like to have it consistent, so I like to have it like false. Looks much cleaner. I'm gonna say message, and we want to say we're gonna have something else here. We're gonna say valid set, and with that we're gonna say let's say hello. I'm gonna say message, and with those parameters set, let's go ahead and create our script. We're gonna look at advanced script, which is, let me just advanced function. I want to just see what it is. Okay, let's actually have this with us afterwards as well, and the processes. But for now, say for now, let's concentrate on this one. Let's actually remove this. All right, so what we have said here, we have set a few parameters. I'm gonna explain what those does in a while. A good practice is to have any comments in the script. So main function. Now we can say read host prompt first main. Yeah, that's what I thought. We can have, if you have comma separators, you have to have quotes, prompt, and we're gonna say first name. It doesn't matter, just read. That doesn't do anything. So we say first name. Okay. One thing with scripts. Oh my god, what am I doing? Sorry guys, this is just dumb. I've just written another script without parameters. There's several ways to script, but yeah. So we have all the parameters. We're gonna say if message equals hello. Then we're gonna say, let's create a function inside a function. That's pretty cool. Function, we don't need that. And we're gonna say, oh, if we're gonna say, hello. Let's copy this and we're gonna say, oh, done. And hello, then we're gonna say, let's, okay. There is something about parameters and variables. If you have the same variable with the parameter, somehow it kind of sometimes it can make a fuss. So I like to separate the variable name. I'm in a parameter variable and the actual variable we're going to use. So we're going to say message is hello, and same here. Functions, then we say message equals welcome. And main function, if message type equals hello, then we're going to say right host message, and we're going to say we don't need these. We can use this message. First name, okay, I guess not. Last name. All right, so let's run this and see if it does anything. So now we have run it, we should have the function available to us. We're gonna write demo1, and since we didn't give it any parameter, it will ask us for the first name. John, last name, Doe, and then it doesn't do anything because the message was false. See, the message parameter was false with mandatory, but we're gonna say it's true, and we're gonna run it again. But now we have to run the whole thing. Level 1, first name, John, last name, Doe, message type. You have to write that. You don't know what it is. If you just enter, then you can say, yeah, you can see it. You can have a help message. I believe, I don't remember. Yeah, that's the comment help. Is it that? It's not a help. Oh, definitely not. It's not important. You can write some help messages to help out. The thing is, what we want to do is we don't want to just press enter. We want to give it that we're going to use the parameters we set it. So tag, that will gives us parameters. So if we say tag and use tab, we can tab through all of the available parameters in that function. So tag tablet first name. If I say go directly to message type, right? So first we're gonna say first name, John, John, and then it asks for the last name and so on. So what we're gonna say, John, and we're gonna say last name, go, and say message type. All because all of these are mandatory. If you should be able to, but you can't for some reason. So it should be able to um, it should be able to tablet through any option, and that's because we haven't done that. I thought it was a switch because I wanted to do it down here. A switch is basically if you assign, let's say, I just need to run that again. So then one, if you assign, if first name was the first name was a switch, it's not a string, so it doesn't take anything. So if you set it like this, if you want just a switch, then you declare it in the as a parameter, but you don't have to input anything into it. So it's just a switch, and it goes from false to true. So that just basically creates a switch you can make it or use in script, right? So let's go ahead, John. Yeah, of course. Last name is Stowe. Message type. Now you can tablet through the options here you have available. So if you tab, you see you have two things. So let's use hello, and of course message function hello function. Main function. Okay. What the? Why not? Oh, not that like that. We're just gonna create a simple function. It's a little bit messy. I'm sorry for that. It's a learning thing for me too. I mean, I usually don't write like simple scripts like this, but we have to have a name, main, and all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say you know what? I don't know why I did this, or actually I do know. If so we're gonna just copy this, and we're gonna say, well, then we're gonna do something, right? Something here. And what we're gonna do is, so we're gonna have two operations here. And at the same time, we also gonna have another function. It's fun, right? Function, no, not that. Function, oh, so we're gonna have an output here, and let's say this is what we want. So I'm gonna say, well, say, well, this isn't very productive, I might say, but it's okay. And at the end of this, we're gonna declare all of this. Is first we want to do um, main, then we want to do out. Great. Let's see if this works. So we're gonna cheat a little bit and put in everything here. Okay, so what is the problem here? Can you guys figure out what the problem here is? We get the messages last name, first name, because those were declared up here, right? Those were declared up here. So I'm doing this a little bit complicated for us now because what we want to achieve is much easier than this. But I just wanted to show you guys something that I didn't show you the last video, which is static variables. In this case, we have multiple functions, but we can't get the message, which is only in these functions. Why is that? Because when you have a function that's almost like a different script, so everything that happens in one function stays in that function. What we can do is one of two things, I believe. So we can try, we can do this, and we can say, set a message. We're gonna try that. I'm not sure, to be honest, if it works, and it didn't because it's declared inside a function. Had it been outside, now you couldn't get in the function. I think you could have could maybe have gotten it in. Is it parameter or is it yeah, it is. So try let's just try this, and I don't think this is gonna work. It's not. So what do we do then? What we can do, as we talked about in the variable section, is to assign it a static variable like this. That should, in theory, allow us to get. Okay, so let me just run this. I saw that I did it wrong. I did it wrong. Now you can see we get the message, hello, John Doe. And if we say welcome, we get welcome, John Doe. But I did something that I didn't try because I think if we say it should work, but it doesn't. Okay, that's great. That's if it's outside of function. So what we had to do here was declare these as static variables, and then it works. So basically what it is, all it does, um, this is sort of a bad programming, to be honest, because what we can do is remove those two. We don't need those, and we can say, actually, we can just say, yeah. What we can do with this one is, this is kind of nice. We can say factor. I believe we should be able to. Oh, okay, so that's the refraction. I think what we're gonna do is just do that, and I was trying to do something that I shouldn't have tried on the replace all. Okay, nice. Anyways, we just changed the parameter value to that. And with that said, I think we should be able to get the script working. A parameter found matches a message type. Oh, message type? Is that because there are something hanging? I did not run the script. Okay. Huh, interesting. I'm not sure what is going on here. One, F8. Let's just run it like this. I'm not sure what happened there. Message type. Where is message type? Okay. These can also be thrown away, I guess. I think we can just do this. Output. Eesh. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure why it says message type. Uh, of course, I am kind of stupid sometimes. Don't mind me. We changed the parameter, and I'm trying to run the same thing in history. It doesn't matter. Message, that's a different story, right? Hello, Jodo. Sheesh, sometimes. I swear. Welcome, Jodo. So when we declare it in the parameter section, even though it's in a function, it's sort of a static variable, so it can fetch it. So this is a short script that you can use parameters to set in your script. That's kind of nice. Now let's jump over to advanced. CMLet or commandlet binding is how can I put this? It just makes a function work like a compiled commandlet, basically. So it's an attribute of function that makes them operate like a compiled commandlets written in C sharp. So you get access to more features of commandlets basically inside here. So you can declare a whole lot of things in here. But we're not gonna go into that. We're just gonna. Usually, I always use CMLet or commandlet binding in all my scripts just because it's nice to have it. You don't need it. Now let's do the same thing. Let's just do the same thing. Kind of say demo. If we want to use the what I call the verb known or noun, is we should say get demo. Actually, we can do this, and we can say begin. And what we want to do is begin. Okay. Begin is what you want to declare for everything that you want to declare first. Process. Begin. Let's say right host. Okay, so we're gonna go through a script that I wrote, but This uses a workflow, begin, process, and end. Basically, what this does is if you have huge scripts or a big script with a lot of variables, a lot of things that you want to process, or things that uh, go over a span of time. So let's say you have a lot of loops, a lot of operations you wanna go through, and let's say one operation takes 1 hour or half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever. If it takes a decent amount of time in PowerShell, what can happen is if you don't have the processes, is that it can time out, or it can kind of, it's easier for the script to fail because something happens or whatever. But the processes, without going into depth, is much better at handling longer scripts or continuous operations. Um, so I mostly use this anyways in my scripts because it's nice to get used to it and write advanced cmlets or functions. So begin as typically if you have any variables you want to declare, all of the declaring of variables and so on, creating new variables, and so on. So that's going to go in the begin section. Then you have the process. This is where you're gonna loop through or go through a lot of stages. If you have some loops, if you have any processing is done here. And end is kind of a cleanup. This is where you tie things up. Maybe you say but, and you of course have to have these brackets and doubles. There we go. And here is usually where you tie things up or sanitize things. So if you have a huge script and after done there is some, you have left some mess up, maybe some files you want to clean up, maybe maybe some after work after you kind of processed everything, you do this at the end. This is where you clean up things, remove files, maybe tie things up. You don't need to have anything here, but if you do, you can use the end. That's after the processing. So let's run. Let's remove this one now, and let's run this. And the function name is get. A lot of things there. The demo. Get demo. And again, if we type enter, it will ask us because of the mandatory parameter. So we're going to tablet first name. It's going to be John. Last name. So message type, tab, hello. There we go. Begin demo. Hello, John. Bye. Welcome. Welcome, Java. Bye. So that's a basic overview of functions and how you can use them. So you can here you can do a lot of things. You can, for example, ping some hosts, remove files, create new files. Whatever you want to do, you do in here. In not function, I mean the process section. Whatever you want to do it in here. Why do I make a function for it? Well, best practice in programming in general is declare everything that you don't need to, that is a single instance. What I mean by that, if you have to reuse something or use it over and over, this is useless right here, okay? Because I just call on the function, but usually you want to declare everything in functions inside the function, of course. The reason for that is if you're going to use this over and over, let's say just a message or whatever operation you want to use several times, best thing is to block those into functions and call the functions later on. and always declare it all above, or otherwise it doesn't run. If you do some operations in the beginning, it won't get the process and so on. So yeah, that's a short overview, and now I'm gonna show you a little login script, I called it, that I wrote. So again, don't get intimidated by all this stuff. It's basically the same as before. The main there isn't really any big difference there, to be honest. The main difference is I have chosen not to use any parameter of my script. So I'm doing all the operations in a loop here. So let's just run it and see what it does. It's called login. So actually, let me explain it first. We have a function create that is named login, and the same thing with processes workflow. We declare everything we want to declare in the beginning, and then we have processes. Yes, this function, you could say that it should be in the process, but since it's a function, this should be this is in the beginning. This is where we declare things. That's just operation. So what I did, I have a function inside the begin block, which is called validate. Again, all of this is just things you're gonna learn. You know what global means. It's a static and spans across several functions here. And we have some few functions. Same with this variable, and all of the rest standard variables. We have a array, and actually this is memory stream. We are creating. Let me see. Okay, so we have created that under process. Let me just read. It's been a few days since I wrote this. Okay, so what we do, let's start from the top. Static variable, we need this in all the functions. So username, I'm gonna prompt the user for a username. And then the same thing with passwords. This we don't need because it's gonna be processed internally here. It's not needed outside. So what we do is we're gonna ask for a password as secure string. What this does is basically getting the input as a secure string, so it's not in clear text. Once you type it in, it will be in asterisk form, and when you try to read out the variable, it's gonna be just a system object, and you can reverse it and all that. We are not doing that in this script, but you can reverse the password. So then we put the password and as plain text. So this is where we're actually reversing the secure string. So we say password as the secure string and convert it from secure string to plain text into the secret variable. And then we are using a stream, memory stream, to ask for or write the string into ISO stream writer. And what we want to do is basically getting a hash of the string. Usually you have to get file hash, and then you have to literally just say this is the file, but we need to create the input stream here with the string to ask for PowerShell to fetch the MD5 hash. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to take out the hash only and put it in the hash variable, static variable. Don't mind this. This is just for testing purposes when I was testing this out. So if we go down here at the bottom, we can see a few options and so on. Option 1 is login, option 2 is register, and option 3 is basically to exit the loop, but we're going to go through it. We declare a function login. What it does, it calls on the first function here, which is validate, and it asks if user database contains username and basically the username is matching the hash with correlated with the username match the hash of the password is given, then login is successful, else login failed. So let me just find the operation where it actually puts in the hash. I'm not sure if this is going to. See our processes here. Yeah, okay, so what we do with the process is we have created a user database. And while true, so this is just a loop, continuous loop. So while true, it's not gonna quit. It's nothing. It's always true. So we're gonna validate options 1, 2, and 3, and we have a try catch operation. So we're gonna clear the variable option because the option variable is set, and once it does a loop, it remembers the last option you set, and if it does clear the option, it will just continue on the same option. So we need to remove the or clear out the option variable, and then we say write host option 1, which is login, 2, which is register, 3, which is exit, and we say it variable option has to be an integer, a number, and we're going to prompt for select option. If the user doesn't adhere to what we're asking for and type something else, or some funny businesses, or do 4, 5, 6 or something, we're going to say select an we're going to say wrong input format, use number to select an option. If you select 5 or something, you're gonna get select an option, or if it's empty, if you just press enter, it's also gonna spit out select an option. And what it's gonna do is gonna do that, and it's gonna sleep for 2 seconds with error message, and it's gonna go clear the host after that and go the whole round again until you select something. And once you do, it's gonna go further down here, and if option is 1, it's gonna go log into register 3 by break. Break is what we use to break out of any loops. So if you have a loop going, break will exit that loop. There are other different ways to do it, but I usually use break. Start sleep is basically making PowerShell do nothing for some X seconds. So let's say option 1 is login. As we saw, login just we had created a user database array. User database hash table. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired, but hash table. So if you go to login, if user database contains the username and that username correlates, or that username's hash correlates with the input hash, then we're going to print this, right? And register is basically going to validate and why does it do that? Why does it validate? Because yes, of course, I was looking at this. Validate. The thing is, this is where programming becomes where you have to look at why do you call do you use the same code? Let's say this is the validate code. If you used all of this code in both functions, that would be a nightmare. You don't want to use you want to try to not use the same code twice. This isn't code, this is basically calling code. But if you have a bunch of code and you use it more than twice, you should. Twice is okay, but like a block, these so many commands or lines of code, reusing so many lines, that's waste. So you wanna try to use if code or put code in one block and use it over and over instead. So yeah, it validates, it does the same thing for register. The only difference between login and register is when you input and got the hashes and everything, instead of validating them or trying them up in the database, it adds the username and hash you for the password you wrote into the user database hash table. And then it just writes register successful. But if you try to register the same user or the same password, not the password, the same user, it will throw that user already exists. And here we can see we use the error variable, which is part of PowerShell. And we say if it matched item has already been added, which will come in red text and a huge bulk of error message. If that error message contains that, that means an item already exists there. Let's run it and see how it works. Log in, and then we get this message right here. So let's just type something. Wrong input format. Let's use number to select an option. Okay, 5. Select an option, X option 1. All right, let's log in. Username, John. Doe. John Doe. Ooh, login failed. And I think we have a error here because of this. So let's remove that and yeah, and we have that. Let's try that again. Log in. Option 1, username John Doe. John Doe. Login failed. So we couldn't log in. So that's too bad. Let's register that. John Doe and John Doe. I think let's just say John. That's the password. Make it easy. Register successful, and let's register the same user twice. John Doe and John. User already exists. Okay, let's log in then. John Doe and John something. Login failed. John Doe and oh, we're still on the options. Let's log in. John and John. We don't have that user, right? John Doe and John. Login successful. Simple script. Let's exit. Bye. And there we go. So that's I wouldn't say simple script, but it's not much of a use case, but it showcases another way to do it. Instead of having parameters, I have a continuous option loop up here instead of running the command with parameters instead. So if you want to do something like that, that's also possible. That's why I wanted to show you another way to have functions uh, with a loop option. So that's for this video. If you have any questions or any suggestions to future videos, let me know in the comments below, and catch you in the next video.